What does Nouriel Roubini, the world-renowned economist, think about Trump, markets, and these exceptionally uncertain times? We're about to find out. I'm Philippe Legrain, the founder of an international think tank called Open, a senior visiting fellow at LSE's European Institute, and a contributor to Project Syndicate. We're going to take a quick cab ride here in London with Professor Roubini, the founder of Roubini Global Economics. Hi Nouriel, good to have you with us.
Great being with you today.
These are some questions which from Project Syndicate readers have sent in. So let's start with stock markets. They've fallen back a bit recently, but overall US stock markets have risen substantially since Trump was elected. The S&P 500, for example, is up by nearly 10%. Do you expect this to last?
It depends very much on the kind of policies they implement. Markets initially went higher because of expectation of a fiscal stimulus, infrastructure spending, lower taxes, lower regulation. I think markets have been overestimating the positives, underestimating some of the negatives. Overestimating the positives because it's not going to be able to achieve as much. We saw it with the healthcare reform, and even the corporate tax reform is going to do less than he wants to. And the impact on economic growth of those policy changes are going to be small. Potential growth in the US is barely 2%. And on the negative side, I would say markets are underpricing the risk that you'll have excessive fiscal stimulus that leads the Fed to tighten more, and that leads to a rise in dollar and interest rates. It's going to be negative for the markets. So in the short run, maybe there's still a honeymoon based on the positives, but if some of those positives disappoint and some of the negatives become more serious on the policy side, the markets can correct significantly.
You've alluded to the fact you don't think that border adjustment tax is going to pass. What about the other protectionist policies that Trump has threatened? How far do you think he's going to go, and what impact would they have on the global economy and indeed the wider liberal international order?
Well, I would say the good news is that some of the more radical things he could have done, and he threatened branding a bunch of countries as currency manipulator right away, imposing across the border tariffs on China, Mexico and other countries, a border adjustment tax. Those big things are going to rattle the economy and the markets are not happening yet because they would have had a major impact on financial markets. On the negative, there is the fact that he's saying my basic rules are buy American, hire American. Those who voted for him are white blue collars who want jobs and income, and his policies on the fiscal side are going to lead to a stronger dollar. And if the dollar becomes stronger, then you have to become more protectionist. And if you become more protectionist, then other countries will retaliate. And global growth is going to shrink, and markets are going to be spooked by that.
Right. One quick final question. Ruling by tweets. What's your assessment of that?
My assessment is one is a really bad idea. It's something that actually signals that you're incompetent, that you're impulsive, that you don't think about what you're doing, and it also negatively impacts confidence in the market. So it's a negative, unfortunately. He keeps on ruling by tweet, and that's not a good way of running the biggest economy in the world.
Thank you. That was Nouriel Roubini, the founder of Roubini Global Economics.